it's Fredrina with Trinity Professional Group, and you are now seeing Thursday's video. This is the day before my book release. I'm insanely excited. Of course, this is part 2 of our competitive advantage video, but I want to talk a bit more about the Conscious Leader because I am so excited. This book is insanely relatable. It's conversational, so it kind of helps you dive into the moment to see what it would be like in the real world, right? Like sometimes people write books and it's just on the definition or on their topics, and you don't really know how it would come up in conversation. Like, how can I apply this in the real world, whether it's my business or whether I am working for a company, and how can I apply this tactic? How can I apply this knowledge that I've gained? So my book is really going to give you insight on that, to see some of the situations that leaders overlook or some of the situations that leaders do well in, and how easy it is to do well in those areas, how simple it is when you actually listen and assess an entire situation, right? To be conscious, awake, and aware of everything that's going on around you, how you can really impact the lives of your team. And then once your team is impacted, they then help you succeed and go to your next level, whatever that next level may be, but you have to know who you are. So we're going to get back into part 2 of competitive advantage. I know on Tuesday's video, I spoke a bit about like Walmart versus Target and things like that, but I kind of wanted to niche down, no pun intended, on some of the markets that you don't really hear as much about, but at the same time, they're super impactful, right? Like, we know that we have Nike, we know we have Adidas, we know we have Puma and some of these other brands. But at the same time, once these shoes are resold, or once these shoes are not old necessarily, but not quite on trend and in the store as much as possible, then they move to sites like eBay and StockX, and more of the sneaker connoisseurs kind of gravitate to these sites because they know there's a specific sneaker they want, and now it may be cheaper than it was when it was on retail. So now that it's no longer on retail, they want to flock to it and get it because they've been wanting it the whole time. So when it comes to a site like eBay, most of the time we think of eBay's competitor to be Amazon. And in a way, it really is. But eBay has a sweet spot for consignment. And that is where eBay makes its mark. It may not have a fleet of trucks like I talked about last week when we learned that Amazon is going to beat out UPS for #1 delivery in the United States. eBay may not be on that market, but like I said, if you chip away at what you're good at, if you chip away at what makes you different, right? Your competitive advantage. What makes eBay different is that they kind of take on the consignment phase as opposed to focusing on brand new and taking in from a bunch of different suppliers. So in taking on the consignment phase, they have created a secondary way of making money. So you kind of like bid on the item and things like that. And then because they created their sweet spot, they now have a competitor who has kind of niched down beyond their niche. They've niched down in sneakers only, or I think sometimes like high-end clothing too, like limited edition, like Nike items and stuff like that. So when you have StockX, they've taken the sneaker portion of eBay and then niched themselves down and kind of created that market for themselves, and they're booming as well. So whenever you're in an industry, never think it's overly saturated. That's something that so many people struggle with. Everybody's selling lashes, or everybody's selling hair, or everybody's selling makeup, everybody's selling clothes. Yeah, but they're not going to do it quite like you will. You know, everybody's not going to do things the same way you would. And like they're Fortune 500, and it's almost never the same set of people in the Fortune 500. Like it switches, or Fortune 200 switches, Fortune 100 switches. Those people always switch. The criteria may change, or their stake at that time when the criteria is run may change. There are so many things that impact it. So to be a competitor doesn't necessarily mean you have to have everything the same as your other competition or someone who may be ahead of you in competition. You can always find your own sweet spot within your niche and compete on that sweet spot, compete at that level, and still become your own market and have people trying to niche down from you. You can still be a giant of sorts when it comes to people niching down from what you're already good at. And so with this and your competitive advantage, be yourself, be authentic, be completely you, Build your brand around who you are, what you like, and when you know you have a market for that, you just expand that authenticity to them, to let them know they're safe, to let them know they're comfortable, to let them know like, hey, when I go out, and like Betsey Johnson, I remember there was a huge Betsey Johnson phase where she had the bows, the polka dots, the bottom of her shoes were teal, she had glitzy glamour, and some of her items were really loud. The average person in the fashion industry would be like, oh, you know, it's a little crazy, it's a little too big, it looks kind of gaudy. But Betsey Johnson carved out her own space within the fashion industry and did amazing. She allowed people to feel comfortable being themselves, and then people who were kind of outside of their comfortability still liked it because it gave them a chance to do something different, to be bold, to be new, to have a new sense and a new lease on fashion instead of it just being dominated by someone else. Had Betsey said no and not created her purses, had she said no and not created her shoes, she would have removed, you know, a piece of society that needed that. She would have taken away some items that a piece of society really needed, and then at that time, someone would have conformed to one of the bigger brands. Someone would have went to Louis for bags, or someone would have went to, I don't know, Jessica Simpson for shoes or something like that to keep them on the same playing field. There are so many alternatives out there, but once you are authentically you put your authentic self out there and your customers attach to that and gravitate to that, then you've built a brand. And once you build a brand and you're consistent on that, it'll allow you to continue to play with your creativity, continue to allow you to evolve and grow and just be who you are, but also extend that authenticity to your customers and extend that authenticity to your clients, because now they're going to be comfortable in being individual. They're going to be comfortable in stepping away from the crowd. They're going to be comfortable in that. They're going to know that being authentically themselves and being completely who they are, that there's somewhere they can go, that there's someone they can buy from who identifies with this same sense of who they are. And that's what it means when you have your target market, excuse me. People have identified with what it is that you represent. People have identified with your brand. People have identified with the fact that they are seen, with the fact that they're patronizing someone who is on the same level as they are or on the same playing field as they are. And this is a huge deal. So when it comes to your competitive advantage, remain who you are. Allow that competitive advantage to be your stepping stone. Allow that competitive advantage to be a part of your marketing, a part of your advertising at all times. That is a huge deal. Keep your competitive advantage at the forefront of your business. After procedures and processes, which is where I come in, you want to make sure that you keep your authentic self at the front. This is your brand you're building. And when it comes to entrepreneurship, as I also speak about a lot, as entrepreneurs, you are your brand in entirety. Like, you are entirely your brand. Everything you do has to wrap around your brand, and you want to become a household name. So you need to keep your competitive advantage at the front. Nobody's going to know you if you keep swaying. Nobody's going to know you if you change what it was you came out with to be a competitor in an industry. So keep your competitive advantage. Don't change. Don't water it down. Of course, you want to be professional and things like that, but beyond being professional and building systems, you want to keep your competitive advantage and stay true to who you are. So just another example of that would be how I said eBay kind of focuses more on the consignment section. There's another company out there who focuses on consignment, and that is ThredUp. ThredUp is an amazing company. I actually used to work for them. And at ThredUp, they had shoes, they had clothes, they had Lululemon, they had, we even had Moncler, like high-end brands come through there and kind of sort through those clothes. And then they're resold, right? They're trying to do a better, like more green impact on the planet and everything like that. So whenever you niche down or whenever you find your market, there's always a way to keep yourself different, to keep yourself attractive to customers, to keep yourself on track with people who are more health conscious or more earth conscious, more green conscious. Never change who you are. Don't change who you are. Just build a business around it. That's what entrepreneurship is. It is the ability to build a business as an individual and make money off of your passion. That's what you want to do with your business and remain competitive. So again, my book, The Conscious Leader, comes out tomorrow by the time you guys see this, and I'm so excited. Again, guys, it's super relatable. It teaches you to be clear on who you are, remain clear on who you are, and then once you have that clarity, you're going to impact your team and make them clear on the goal and the vision that you have set. Again, Fredrina with Trinity Professional Group. Have a great night, guys.